Good afternoon, all of you. Can you hear me, students? Okay, fine. Fine. Good afternoon. So let us continue from yesterday's class. Yes. So so we had tried to formulate the production rules for the water jug problem in yesterday's class. So there were 8 production rules for the water jug problem. So these were the 8 rules. So we actually had 4 different actions. The first action was we can fill both the jugs separately. We can fill the 4-gallon one and the 3-gallon one. We could empty both the jugs. And then we had other operators where we were pouring the water from one jug to another jug until that jug was full, right? And there was a fourth operator where we were pouring all from one jug to the other jug. So we had, corresponding to these 4 different actions for 2 different jugs, for different jugs, we had actually 8 operators, and therefore we had 8 rules. So now let's try to formulate a solution of this problem. So initially you have your initial state as 0, 0 because there is no water in both the jugs. So both the jugs are empty. So 0, 0 is your initial state. Now can you formulate the solution? So what we want to reach the state 2, 0. We want 2 gallons of water in the 4-gallon jug, and there is no water or any n amount of water in the 3-gallon jug. So 2, 0 is the state that we want to reach, and the initial state is 0, 0. So can we find a solution? Basically, the solution is also written over here. So it's can you find the solutions to? We are starting with 0, 0, and how do we reach this 2, 0? So what we are doing over here is, first of all, for a 3-gallon jug. So first of all, you fill the 3-gallon jug. So the next state becomes 0, 3, right? And then you pour that water, all the water from the 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. So the next state becomes 3, 0, right? And then you again fill the 3-gallon jug. So the next state becomes 3, 3, 3, 3, right? Now, when you have the state as 3, 3, what you do is you pour the water from the 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug until the 4-gallon jug is full, right? So if you pour the water from 3 to 4-gallon jug until that is full, so you can pour only 1 liter of 1 gallon of water, because because the 4-gallon jug is already having 3 gallons of water, right? So you can pour only 1 gallon of water in this. So it will become 4, and the 3-gallon jug, it will get reduced by 1, so it will become 2. So the next state becomes 4, 2, when you have poured the water from 3 to 4-gallon jug until the 4-gallon jug is full. So your next state becomes 4, 2. And then you can empty all the water from the 4-gallon jug. So you can get the state 0, 2. And then finally you can transfer the 2 liters of water from the 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. So you'll get 2, 0. So these are the steps which you can take, or you can say that these are the states that you will change in order to get the final goal state as 2, 0. So basically, first of all, you are filling the 3-gallon jug. Then you are pouring the water, all the water from 3-gallon jug to the 4-gallon jug. So you get the state 3, 0. Then you again fill the 3-gallon jug and pour the water from 3 to 4-gallon jug. So then you get the number of gallons in the 3-gallon jug as 2. So that means you have measured 2 gallons of water. Now you want this 2 gallons in the 4-gallon jug. So you empty the water in the 4-gallon jug and then transfer it to the from the 3 to the 4-gallon jug. So finally you get the state as 2, 0. So here the states are changing, and you should also write that which rule you are applying. Okay, so this is also one important thing, that what is the rule that you have applied to get the next state, that is also to be mentioned over here. Okay, that is one important thing. Fine. So can you tell me that which rule you have applied for getting the next state in the first from the initial state? So 0, 0 was the initial state, and you have filled the 3-gallon jug. So which rule? So just see here. This is basically, you see the rules from the 12 rules. So from the 12 rules, this is rule number 2, filling of the 3-gallon jug. So that is why you have written there the rule applied as 2. So after you applied the second rule, you get 0, 3. and then you transfer all the water from 3-gallon jug to the 4-gallon jug. So that means you have applied rule number 9. So ninth rule is pouring all the water from 3 to 4. Okay. Then again you fill the 3-gallon jug. So that is again rule number 2. So you get 3,3. Now from this 3,3 you are pouring the water from 3 to the 4-gallon jug until the 4-gallon jug is full. So that is which rule? It's actually rule number 7. So in 7 you are pouring the water until 4-gallon jug is full. So that is rule number 7. So when you apply the rule number 7, you get the state as 4,2. Now from 4,2 you want to empty all the water on the ground for the 4-gallon jug. So the rule corresponding to that is, just see the rules, emptying rule. So empty all the water on the ground. So which rule? So which rule for emptying? Please tell. Waiting for your responses. Fifth rule, and which other rule? So if you see here, there is another rule which is also doing the same thing. Which one? 12. Empty the 4-gallon jug on the ground, right? So basically, even if you apply the 5th one or the 12th one, result would be the same. So 5th rule says empty the 4-gallon jug on the ground, and the 12th rule says empty the 4-gallon jug on the ground. So 5th or 12th, any rule you can apply to get the state 0, 2, right? Now from 0, 2, you want to get the state 2, 0. So basically you want to transfer all the water from the 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. So again, which rule you can apply? So you can apply the 9th rule, where you are pouring all the water from the 3-gallon jug into the 4-gallon jug. So you can get the so the 9th rule is pouring all the water from 3 to 4, and even the 11th rule. If you see the 11th rule, it is pouring 2 gallons from 3 to 4. So actually 9th or 11th can both serve our purpose. So even if you write 9th rule or 11th rule, it is both will serve our purpose. So if you apply any of these two rules, you will get the state 2, 0. Okay. So like this, you can actually generate the set of states which can lead towards your goal state. And every state which you are generating, that is by the use of some rule. So you have to also mention the rule which you are applying to get the next state. So this is one solution to the water jug problem. Can anybody tell me some other solution for solving this problem? Can you think of any other solution? Can anybody write on the chat box and tell what could be the other solutions? Any other solution? Okay, Shubham has given an answer. Let's see. So, okay, so he is trying to fill the, Shubham is trying to fill the 4-gallon jug first. So in this solution, if you see, we are trying to fill the 3-gallon jug. But the other solution could be, you start by filling the 4-gallon jug, right? So if you start by filling the 4-gallon jug, so your initial state is 0, 0. From that, you will get 4, 0. And then you transfer the water from 4 to 3. So you get only 1 gallon remaining in 4-gallon jug, and 3 gallons are there in the 3-gallon jug. So you get a state 1, 3. So now you empty all the water from the 3-gallon jug. So you get 1, 0. Okay. So now you transfer that 1 to the 3-gallon jug. So you get 0, 1. And then you have 1 liter of water in the 3-gallon jug, and you don't have any water in the 4-gallon jug. So you fill completely the 4-gallon jug. So your next state becomes 4, 1. And then finally you have 1 liter of water in the 3-gallon jug and 4 liters of water in the 4-gallon jug. So you transfer the water from 4 to 3-gallon jug until the 3-gallon jug becomes full. So that means you will be left with 2 gallons of water in the 4-gallon jug. So your final state would be 2, 3. So let's see this solution. Shubham, that solution is correct actually. So that solution is correct. Let's see this solution. So see here students, this is the second solution where this is the second solution to the water jug problem. Here you are trying to basically start filling the 4-gallon jug first of all. So here you are filling the 4-gallon jug. So 40, then you transfer the water until that 3-gallon jug is full. So you get 13, and then you empty the water in the 3-gallon jug. So 10. Then you transfer the water, all the water from 4-gallon jug to the 3-gallon jug. So you get 01. Then again you fill the 4-gallon jug. So 41. Then again you transfer the water from 4-gallon jug to 3-gallon jug until it is full. So you get 23. And then 23 is also your goal state actually. If you want to empty the water from 3-gallon jug, so you get a state 20. But both are your goal states. Even 23 or 20, both are your goal states. So basically you have to also write which rules you have applied to get this goal state. So this solution is also correct. The previous solution was also a correct solution. So just also write the rules which you have applied. So if you see here, you have in the first step, you have the state as 00 and you have filled the 4-gallon jug. So that was rule number 1. So just see here, the rule number 1 was filling of the 4-gallon jug. So that's what you have written over here, rule number 1. Then you got this state 40. Now from 40, you want to basically pour the water from 4-gallon jug to 3-gallon jug until the 3-gallon jug is full. So this is which rule? It's rule number 8. Rule number 8 is pouring water from 4 to 3 until 3 is full. So this is rule number 8. So you write down rule number 8 over here and then you get the state 13. So now you empty all the water from 3-gallon jug. So that is rule number 6. Rule number 6 is emptying the 3-gallon jug on the ground. Fine. So rule number 6 you apply and you get the state 10. Now you pour all the water from 4 to 3. So that is rule number pouring of all the water from 4 to 3. So this is rule number 10. So rule number 10 you will apply here. So you have written rule number 10 and after applying rule number 10, you will get the state 0, 1. Fine. Now when you get the state 0, 1, you again fill the 4-gallon jug. So that was rule number 1 again. So you get the state 4, 1. Now from 4, 1, you are pouring the water from 4-gallon jug to the 3-gallon jug until the 3-gallon jug is full. So that is again rule number 8. So rule number 8, when you apply, you will get the state 2, 3, right? So when you get the state 2, 3, then after that, you have to, that's actually your goal state. But if you want to empty the water from the 3-gallon jug, you can apply rule 6 also. So you apply rule 6 and you will get the you will get the 3-gallon jug also empty. So you'll get the next state as 20. So even 20 or 23, both are your goal states. So this is how you can develop the solutions to the water jug problem. These are the two solutions, two different solutions to the same problem. Are you able to understand the solution, students? Yes or no? Are you able to get it? Okay. Okay, fine. So this is basically the solution to the water jug problem, and the rules, whatever we have written, those rules are called as the production rules. Fine. So the complete thing, basically, there is a production system. This complete thing is called as a production system. So it has got 4 components in a production system. So the 4 components of a production system is the knowledge base, or you can say a database. So a database is basically a knowledge base which is required. For example, in the water jug problem, the knowledge base was that you were given the domain knowledge. So the domain knowledge for the water jug problem was that you have no measuring cylinders, right? And you have an infinite amount of supply of water. So infinite amount of water supply is there and you don't have any measuring cylinder, right? So whatever information was given to you in the water jug problem, this was the information that you have 4-gallon jug and a 3-gallon jug. You have a faucet with an unlimited amount of water, and you need to get exactly 2 gallons in the 4-gallon jug, and you don't have any measuring cylinders with you. So all these are basically part of the information given to you. So that's nothing but a knowledge base. So that knowledge base is very important for solving a problem. You should have the domain knowledge that there is no measuring cylinder available. So that is your domain knowledge. So that is one thing. The other thing is, a set of production rules. So you should have a set of production rules. These will actually define that there will be a left hand side of the rule and there will be a right hand side of the rule. So the left hand side of the rule will basically tell that when should you apply that rule and what will be the initial state when you apply that rule. Fine. And after you apply that rule, what will be the next state? That will be the right hand side. So the right hand side will always tell you the post condition, or you can say the result. That means the next state. And the left hand side will tell you the previous state and the precondition for applying that rule. So basically a left hand side of the rule will determine the applicability of the rule. That means what is the precondition for applying that rule. And a right hand side would describe that action that will be performed if the rule is applied. So basically it will tell you the result of your action, or you can say the next state generated. So production rules are very important. And then we have a control strategy. So basically control strategy is basically a strategy which specifies the order in which the rules will be applied when several rules match at once. So basically this order, this order of applying the rules is called as a control strategy. Fine. So if you are trying to find out the solution for the water jug problem, you will apply the rule number 1, then rule number 8, then 6, then 10, then again 1, then 8, then 6. So this order of rule application is called as a control strategy. Okay. So control strategy means the order in which you are applying the rules to get your goal state. So that's called as a control strategy. And one more thing, if several rules are matching, suppose several rules are there whose preconditions are satisfying, so you can apply any one of them. So basically whatever order you are choosing, that when several rules are matching, whatever rules you are selecting for applying first and then later some other rule, so that order is called as a control strategy. So a control strategy specifies the order in which the rules will be applied. And if several rules are matching at some state, suppose you are in this state 0, 0, and from this you can actually apply rule number 1 also and rule number 2 also, right? If you apply rule number 1, you will get 4, 0. If you apply rule number 2, you will get 0, 3. Isn't it? So from this 0, 0 initial state, you can actually apply both the rules, rule number 1 or 2. So in this case, which rule you are applying and what is the order of the rule application, that will become your control strategy. So when several rules are matching, so in this case, when you are at 0, 0, your precondition is matching both the rules, rule number 1 also, rule number 2 also. So you have a choice of applying any of the rules. So which rule you are applying, and then the later rules also, the combination of all those rules, that is the order of all those rules, that's called as a control strategy. So whatever rule you are choosing. So in this case, your control strategy is rule number 2, then 9, then 2, then 7, then 5, and then 9. In this case, your control strategy is rule number 2. In this case, the control strategy is rule number 1, 8, 6, 10, 1, 8, 6. So like this, the control strategy changes. So a production system consists of a knowledge base, a set of production rules, a control strategy, and then a rule applier. So rule applier will basically apply the rule. So you should have a set of rules, and you should also know the order in which you should apply the rules, and you should also have the domain knowledge with you. So if you have all these things, then you can apply the rules using rule applier and generate the next states until you reach your goal state. So this complete thing with all these 4 components, it is called as a production system. So if in a question you have been asked to design a production system for the water jug problem. Suppose the question is like this. Suppose the question is to design the production system for the water jug problem. So in that case, you have to design first of all the production rules, and then you have to also display the rules you are applying and the order in which you are applying to generate the goal state. So you have to display your control strategy also. So basically you have to write your rules, and then you have to write that how you are generating the goal state from the initial states and which rules you are applying. So that control strategy plus your production rules plus your domain knowledge, whatever is that you are having, that will become your complete production system for the water jug problem. So production system is basically there are different games like water jug problem. We have studied how to design a production system for the water jug problem. Like this, you can have for chess also. You can also design a production system for chess and the 8 puzzle problem and so on. So we will study what is the 8 puzzle problem in the later classes. So for all these problems, you can design a production system. Production system is basically a good way to model the data driven nature of intelligent actions. So as the new inputs enter the database, the behavior of the system changes. Okay, so as new inputs are entering your database, the system would behave differently based on those new inputs. So in that case, your production system can model that thing, that if new inputs are entering the database, so your domain knowledge, if it gets changed, so then in that case new rules will be added up. So new rules would get added up, and then the solutions of the problems would also change. So new rules can easily be added to account for new situations without disturbing the rest of the system if you have a production system. So if you have a production system which has got some production rules, and if if new inputs are coming, then you can design new rules for them and add them easily in the production system. So that was what is a production system, and then what is a control strategy. So as I told you, control strategy is the order of application of rules. So there are actually two important characteristics of a good control strategy. The first characteristic is that the control strategy should cause motion, and the other thing is it should be systematic. So there are two important properties of a good control strategy. The first property is the control strategy should be causing motion. Other is it should be systematic. So let us study what is the meaning of these. Control strategy should cause motion. So the meaning of this is, it should cause motion. So actually it should make the states change. Okay. So motion means the states are changing, right? So suppose in the water jug problem, suppose you choose the control strategy that every time you are picking up the first rule. Okay. So let us see the set of rules. So if you see here, there are 12 rules, okay, in the water jug problem. But let us say every time you are selecting the first rule, the filling of the 4-gallon jug. Suppose you are every time selecting the first rule and then filling the 4-gallon jug. Then again in the next time also you are filling the 4-gallon jug. Then next time again the third case also you are filling the 4-gallon jug. So basically you are indefinitely filling the 4-gallon jug only. So without any fruitful result. So basically you are not progressing, you are not changing your states. Indefinitely you will go on applying the first rule, and that will actually lead to the filling of 4-gallon jug only every time, and it will not lead to a change of states. So definitely it cannot lead to a solution, isn't it? If your states are not changing, so you cannot lead to a solution. So a control strategy should be chosen in such a manner that it should cause motion. Motion in the sense that the states should change. Okay. So if you are choosing always the first rule and applying the first rule always, so the first rule will always fill the 4-gallon jug. So in that case, it's there is no state change in this case, because you are indefinitely going to fill the 4-gallon jug only. So that is an example of a control strategy which is not causing motion. So you should choose a control strategy carefully. It should cause some motion. The other thing is it should be systematic. So the control strategy should. The meaning of this is control strategy should be systematic. The meaning is that if you are suppose you are randomly choosing the rules. Okay, so in our case we were applying the rules in this order: 2, 9, 2, 7, 5 and 9. Suppose you are not applying in this order. Suppose